So joining us here today, we have Sven Gustafson from Stonewood LLC, custom home builder in Minnesota. Welcome, Sven. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Well, thanks for joining us here today. One of the things we want to get into today is we want to learn a little bit more about your business, Sven, and we want to talk about the evolution of BuildTools. So first, if you could introduce yourself and Stonewood quickly, that'd be great.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a custom home builder and remodeler. We're based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the west side of town. We do about a dozen homes a year and about 30 remodels a year. Family business. I've been doing this my whole life, and we've got a small team. So that's us in a nutshell, I suppose.
That's great. That's great. So Sven, tell us a little bit about BuildTools. So you are the creator, you're the visionary, you're the mastermind behind the evolution of BuildTools. So what came about? What types of problems were you looking to solve when you decided to create BuildTools? Tell us the story.
Yeah, it came about just out of the everyday need of managing different bits of information. Really, change orders was probably where it came from. This is how far back it goes. About the carbon copy sheets of change orders, so that we could give one to the client and get one back to the office and hopefully keep the budget updated. That seemed like a pretty antiquated way to manage important information like that 20 some years ago. We always knew there was a better way, and we're always with everything we do looking for a better way to do things. Having a little bit of a background in technology, post college, pre jumping into the family business, I started looking at technological ways to address some of the information management that we needed to do, and we built a couple things that sort of worked. And then we found a product off the shelf that looked like it was going to be a pretty good solution for us. It wasn't tailored to custom home builders and remodelers. It was more focused on larger scale custom home builders. And so as much as it had promise and it helped us accomplish some of that management that we knew we could do a better job of, it wasn't the perfect solution for us. So we set out to just start from the ground up. Hired a developer, started building a couple modules to manage our budgets and our change orders, and focused on the financial side of things, really focused on the back office of building homes more than the client communication. And before we knew it, we really had a full suite that we built that focused on every aspect of the home building process, from scheduling to change orders, communicating with our clients and our subcontractors, doing the document management and budget and purchasing. Everything it was encompassed into what is now BuildTools. A smaller group of builder friends around the country saw what we were doing. Were I think pretty envious of what we were doing. Started using it, and it seemed, accidentally we had a product that was being used around the country.
Man, that's great. That's great. So a lot of businesses run into this, right? So they have a need, and then they decide, that they want something to work just for them. At what point in time, as you're developing this thing, did you think to yourself that this could be something that other builders could use?
Oh boy, I think we had the entire product pretty well built before that ever occurred to us. It was always just an internal tool. We were building it for our specific needs. Our construction office was our laboratory. Our developer would walk down the hall and ask our estimator how he does his job and what he could build into the product to make it go more smoothly, and then he'd kind of work his way through it. So having that access to the folks that are actually doing the work, I think is part of why BuildTools is so powerful, and why it is such a perfect tool for custom home builders and remodelers, because it was developed by the folks that were actually doing the work. They were informing the product design. And it wasn't until we had several other builders that were using it that we thought, all right, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe this is something that we can market and really turn into a product that could blow up. So was never the goal, but it turned out that way.
Yeah, it's interesting that you can just talk to individuals that are actually in the seat using the product and quickly work that in and make those changes for the betterment of your business. What about when you started taking it out to other individuals and other companies, and they started giving you feedback? How did you manage that? Did it help BuildTools grow? Did it help solve additional problems for your business at the same time?
Yeah, we did it slowly enough that that the learning curve, which was steep, builder developing software, it was easy to manage, I think. The thing about home builders is there's no one way to do it. Every builder, we're by nature, I think we're problem solvers, and we individual companies look for ways to manage our projects in the best possible way to avoid lost information and confusion and problems. And so many builders have some very unique ways of managing their projects and distributing information to the trade partners and vendors and getting their scheduling information out. So managing that, building a product that wasn't so complicated to address every unique way of doing business, but kind of filtering it down to the 5 or 6 possible right ways of doing business. That was challenging, but I think we learned a lot from it. And the product incorporates methodologies for doing cost plus construction as well as fixed bid construction, for example. And then there's 4 or 5 different flavors of each one of those different paths that builders might engage in.
Well, that's interesting, Sven, and we really appreciate you, in all of your involvement since the acquisition in 2020 and the guidance that you've been giving all along. What type of advice do you have for customers today? I mean, certainly there are customers that are using just a little bit of it. There's other customers that are trying to really maximize it and take it to the next level. What advice do you have for some customers right now about really getting this thing integrated into their business?
Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest hurdles for somebody deciding to implement BuildTools is it might seem overwhelming. There's so much to it because it really can address every business need that a custom home builder or remodeler has. And so I think folks might push off and say, "Oh, we don't have the time to do that right now," and that's the wrong approach. I think looking at the most pressing problem that a builder has, or pressing area of opportunity, doing a better job managing their schedules, or even something as simple as just managing their documents. Start there and get your team up to speed using that one module. Use BuildTools as a database for managing all of your client information, all of your vendor information. Maybe that's enough to make it valuable right out of the gates, that everybody in your company has one place to go when they need the painter's phone number, or their address or their email address or whatever else, rather than everyone having their own list of phone numbers and contact info. So I would say start small, and I suspect your team will see the other functionality, and curiosity will cause the company to grow into all of the other modules of BuildTools pretty quickly. The power of how it can simplify the day-to-day work that my employees do, it's apparent. And I think it gets pretty exciting to the team once they see that there is a easier, better, cleaner way to manage projects.
Excellent. Well, appreciate all the advice, Sven. And so why don't you talk to us a little bit about the project that you're working on outside of home building, outside of what you're doing every day here that got us to that Everyday Hero award?
Boy, well, thanks for creating the space to talk about that, because it's something I'm probably more excited about than anything. The One for One project. So the One for One project is a nonprofit that my wife and I founded years ago, where for every home that our construction company builds in the U.S., we donate funding to build a home in a third world country. We've been focused on Guatemala, specifically a little town called Sampungo. And over the last few years, we've built over 200 homes. And we started the One for One project to help facilitate that work and to bring other builders into that opportunity. It came out of a conversation with a couple other builder friends about, what do you guys do when a client moves in? What sort of a gift do you give your clients? We're building very high-end homes, and a bottle of wine or a tool set or some silly tchotchke like that seemed insignificant when they just finished building a $10 million house with us. What could we do for somebody that already has everything and they're moving into a palace? And so we decided that the most meaningful thing we could do was to give back. to bless another family that wouldn't otherwise ever be able to have a home with a home as a result of the home that we just finished building.
Man, that's great. How can others get involved in that if there's a need and an interest, Sven?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is the1for1.org. So the number 1for1.org. One house for one house is what that stands for. And they can reach out to us through that website, and we can give them some more details. It's a surprisingly small amount of money. $2,500 builds a home for a family in Guatemala. Probably less than the cost of some of the appliances in the homes that we're building. So it might not seem a lot to us, but it's everything in the world to the folks that we're serving.
Fantastic. Sven, this was great. I appreciate you taking the time to work with us here, and I'm sure everybody else appreciates your feedback. Any last advice for the base in closing?
Make the most out of BuildTools. Make it the core of your business. That's what we did, and it's easy for me to say as the founder of the product. But it really has made us a better company. We have grown in quality of process and service, and we have grown in dollar volume and quantity of homes that we're building, really without increasing our headcount, because we're able to do so much more with BuildTools. So my involvement aside, having that unified tool that everybody in our company is using it's a game changer. I'd encourage anyone who's not using a product like BuildTools to give it a shot, and I think they'll quickly see how large an impact it'll have.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, Sven. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our Better Builder Series podcast. And join us again on our next episode. Thanks, everybody.